Hello and welcome everyone to a new video on our YouTube channel. So in today's video, we're going to be showing you how to diagnose and fix a blown head gasket on this BMW E30, so stick around. This particular car has a different engine that is not common to find in BMW E30s, but rather been swapped from a later model E36. It's not anything special, it's just a 4-cylinder M43M18. So now we're going to start the car up and show you how it's acting and all the symptoms. You can see, guys, we're gonna show you how the car is acting. As you can see, guys, the compression of the engine is leaking into the coolant system. That's what's causing all the bubbles and the air escaping through the water. We also have the middle two cylinders are dead. As you can see, there is spark, but it's not affecting the operation of the engine as the first one is. So now we're going to do a compression test on the engine to make sure which cylinders are bad. Okay guys, so we removed all 4 spark plugs. As you can see, on some of the cylinders it's running rich, and on others it's not running at all. So now we're going to hook the pressure tester and start testing the compression on each of the cylinders. As you can see, guys, the number 1 cylinder is healthy. It's on right on 175. So as you can see, we turn the car back up, and then all the hoses are rock solid, as if that there is pressure built up in them. As you can see here, the radiator is cracked and it's fizzing on the side. So now we're gonna open the reservoir. Cold water is gonna come out, but it's gonna be pressurized. So as you saw, guys, the coolant system is pressurized, but the water is still cold because we only ran the engine for 10 seconds. As you can see, guys, we are removing slightly the hose clamp here. As you can see, pressure buildup is getting free from here. All the hoses are rock solid, but when we release the pressure, the hoses will go back to its normal form, which is more squishy. Okay guys, so one more thing to add before we start with this assembly in the diagnosing process is that the coolant reservoir here smells like bird gas, which indicates that the exhaust is leaking into the cooling system. This is one more clue to look at before starting this assembly to make sure that you have a combustion leaking into the cooling system and causing it to overpressurize. So now we're gonna start by removing the radiator and making room to remove the fans and remove the whole cylinder head. So first thing first, we're gonna remove the hood to have more room and have easier access. Alright guys, so now that we removed the hood, we accessed the whole engine from all the sides. We're gonna start by disassembling the front end. We're gonna remove the fan here, which is a clutch fan, and the thermostat housing. We're gonna remove them and start disassembling the rest. Guys, so after we remove the upper intake plenum, we reveal the lower intake. We're gonna remove the 5 bolts that it has. They are all 11 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We remove them and push the intake manifold to the side. Okay guys, so now that we got both the intake and the exhaust removed from the cylinder head, it's now time to remove the valve cover and the timing sprocket cover and start removing the chain. So a couple of 10mm bolts holding on the valve cover. Guys, so after removing the valve cover, if you look closely on the timing sprocket, you can see that there's a trace of water actually on the sprocket itself and on the chain. As you can see, that's water and not oil. As you can see, it's dripping down. That's perfect indication that there is water coming into the oil and into places that it should not be, which indicates furthermore that we have a blown head gasket or a more serious issue. Okay guys, so if you look closely right here is the timing mark in the camshaft sprocket. Now to time this engine is, you gotta put this on 12 o'clock with respect of the engine here. So it needs to be pointing right on top here where the camshaft is. Another indication that you are on TDC on number 1 cylinder is that you got the 2 lobes of the camshaft away from pushing down the valves open. So none of the valves is open right now. Okay guys, so what I'd like to do after putting the timing marks where it should be, because this is a variable sprocket, as you can see, I'd like to put my own marks here just for reference, just like that. Now while waiting for the paint to dry, I'm gonna drain the oil of the engine. I kept it free. It's a 17mm nut or a bolt. Okay guys, since we are going to do this job quickly and we're not gonna spend extra money on undamaged parts, we're not gonna disassemble the timing cover to the bottom side and we're not gonna mess with the accessories. So we're gonna keep the chain tied to the sprocket and remove it from the camshaft. We're gonna use some zip ties to keep the chain locked on the sprocket, and this way it won't skip any teeth and it won't budge. Now what we do is we loosen the guides of the chain. And this one too, both of these bolts to the cylinder head, which we are trying to remove. So now after we removed both guides, they are freely moving, as you can see. You can easily remove the sprocket. So now with the timing chain out of the way, you can start unbolting the cylinder. There's a special sequence that you need to follow in order to remove or install a cylinder head on an engine. Now we're gonna put it on the screen. Make sure to follow it. One thing to note that there are 2 temperature sensors on the side of the cylinder head here. Make sure you disconnect them like that. This one and this one. And there's a water neck on the rear side of the cylinder head, which I removed, this plastic one. Either you remove the hoses or remove the two bolts holding on the plastic neck. Okay guys, so as you saw, we removed the cylinder head and we set it on the side right there. Now we're gonna remove the cylinder head gasket. As you can see, it came out in one piece, which is a good sign. But if you look closely on the cylinder head gasket here, as you can see, this is number 1, this is number 4, and through 4, this is 2 and 3. If you look closely here on number 3, there is a trace of coolant leaking into the combustion chamber right here. As you can see it more on the back side. As you can see, there is an orange residue from the coolant leaking into the combustion chamber from this area here. As you can see, everything else is shiny. Only this area is discolored like that. If you look closely on the cylinders, you can see that all the cylinders are black except for the cylinder number 3, which looks shiny because it's been steam cleaned from all the coolant leaking into it and burning out. Alright, so one of the issues that contributed for the occurrence of this problem was that the temperature gauge is not working and the driver could not see that the engine is overheating. With that is that the guys that swapped in this engine did not hook up the temperature sending unit. So we're gonna open this C101 and check out to see if the temperature gauge inside the car works or not, and if it does, we're gonna hook it up. Guys, so after locating the pin on the C101 connector here for the temperature gauge, we verified that the gauge itself in the cluster is working, so now we're gonna hook it up. So here on the C101 connector, we know that this pin is for the temperature gauge, which is this one too. So now we're gonna test the continuity between this pin and one of these wires to know which one is for the temperature gauge and hook it up. Note that these wires we have nothing to do with. They were just like that and wrapped around with some electrical tape. So just like that, we figured out which wire is for the temperature gauge. Now we're gonna do it to the other side of the harness, the one with the engine, to know which is for the sending unit. So on the engine side, note that there are 2 temperature sending units on BMW engines. We have one which has a 2-pin connector and one that has only 1-pin connector. The 2-pin connector sends the temperature of the engine to the ECU itself, and the one with 1 connector sends the temperature to the gauge cluster. Following the wire in the wiring harness right here, the color of it is brown with a purple line. Coming to the connector side here, we're gonna search for a brown wire with a purple line. Now just to be sure, we're gonna test the continuity of the wire. Just like that, we verified that there is no problem with the wiring harness itself. It's only they didn't connect it when they swapped in the engine. What we have to do now is hook these 2 wires together. Okay guys, so following the hose on the rear water neck here, if you look closely deep down, the hose is actually clogged, it's actually bent and it's not letting water through or coolant. This is probably what caused the engine to overheat and blow the head gasket. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fix that issue, which was probably caused by the guys who installed this engine. Okay guys, so we prepped everything and we also cleaned the deck of the engine block here, and we also fixed the hose issue that we had here. Now we're gonna blow all the dirt out of the cylinders and the holes and crevices from the engine, and then wipe it down with some grease remover and start the assembly. Okay guys, so here we got a new seal. It goes underneath the cylinder head on the timing chain side. This is very prone for leaking oil. You have to remove the cylinder head to replace it, so we're gonna replace it while we're here. I like to put a really thin coat of RTV just to cover any imperfections in the metal. I like to use the head gasket shellac, which is the copper spray but the old school way. It helps seals any imperfections or gouges in the block or in the cylinder head. You put just a thin coat right before putting on the cylinder head, the gasket. Here we got a brand new cylinder head gasket, the Godsey one, which is a high quality one. And now it's time to slap the cylinder head back in place. Now we're gonna start setting in the head bolts. Make sure you put a thin coat of oil on the threads and on the washer here, on both sides. Okay guys, so now we're gonna tighten the cylinder head down, but we need to follow this special pattern. And these are the torque specs for this engine. So first we're gonna put it to 30 Newton meter and then do a 90 degrees, and after that do a one other 90-degree pass. So now we're gonna let it sit a little bit and then do a 90-degree pass. Okay guys, so they make special wrenches to do degree turns and torquing specs, but we can do is put a wrench 90 degrees to the perpendicular to the cylinder head and torque it steadily till it lines up and becomes parallel with it. Now we're gonna do the first 90-degree pass on the rest of the bolts. Now after doing the first pass and waited 15 minutes, we're gonna do the next pass. Okay guys, so just like that we took the cylinder head on, and now it's time to install everything back together. We're gonna install the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold and set the timer. Now we reinstall the guide bolt. Now after installing the timing chain back on, we're gonna turn the engine 2 full rotations to make sure that it's timed perfect. Okay guys, so if you're not confident in making your own time marks like we did and putting it back together, and you want to follow the manufacturer's timing, you can do is, if you look on the block here, there's an arrow. It should be pointing on the 6th tooth after the gap here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, the sixth tooth has a slash in it. So these two should be lined up. And if you come to the camshaft, because of the sprocket has a variable adjustment here, the real timing is, if you look on this square piece here, it should be perpendicular to the surface of the cylinder. So one thing to note, that there's a hole underneath the starter, under the intake manifold over there, where you can put a screw or a piece of tool to hold the crankshaft in the top dead center position, and it will not rotate. But I mean, most engines does not have it, so we are used to not using any special tools. Now we're gonna put the upper timing cover back on. So since we have a blown head gasket, we must replace the oil filter along with the oil, because it might have catch some water and some condensation. So a quick trick is, if you don't have the right tool for these plastic filter housings, you can use an old serpentine belt and a wrench, a big one that fits through the hole of it. What you do is do like that, and then twist around. It will lock eventually in place, and grab yourself an extension and use it as a T. This will not damage the plastic housing because you are not putting pressure directly through the metal on it. It's just a rubber belt. Now it's time to install the exhaust manifold. So with that done, it's time to continue assembling the intake system. We're gonna put the upper plenum on and hook everything up. So just like that, we got everything assembled. Now we didn't film everything because it's easy process. It's just the reverse of the disassembly. Now all we gotta do is put some new spark plugs in it and install the radiator and start the engine. Now make sure guys to check the gap of the new spark plugs, just to make sure that the box didn't drop accidentally, and close the gap. Okay guys, so we're gonna put the old thermostat housing, the one with the no thermostat, because we need to flush the engine before installing the new radiator. Now we can start pulling in the new oil. Now it's time to do the first startup. So as you can see guys, this is the new thermostat housing with the thermostat built in it. This one is already broken and the thermostat is removed. So we're going to install the new one. Okay guys, so here we have the new radiator. We installed the shroud on it, and here's the old one. It's time to install it. Okay guys, so after we installed the new radiator and we also flushed the whole coolant system out of the engine and now everything is clean, it's now time to add some coolant. We're gonna go with some antifreeze here with the green stuff, just to prevent any further corrosion to happen. Just like that, folks, we showed you how to replace the cylinder head gasket on an M43 or B16 engine. It's a straightforward process. There is no special tools required. All you have to do is trust in your mechanical powers and do it on your own easily. With that being said, this is going to be a wrap for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned a couple of stuff along the way. If you did, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you on the next one.